He's in a different vehicle.
Should just be a combination like that.
He's got a whole of him sitting on the bench at home. I'm sure you'll feel a little better. So it's special to not go.
I don't better Jim go.
He's just gone round. So, just a quick bit of housekeeping. Ladies' toilets are here. Females' toilets, males' toilets round the outside. Follow the building, and then there's an open door that you can get to for the boys.
Yeah, not that from you.
Well, we'll try, but it's probably deadlocked. Yeah.
From the
Can't
inside.
be too careful out these
From the
parts.
inside.
No, don't want anybody to go to the toilet.
It's a key deadlock on both sides.
Right. Sorry, my hands. Really?
Welcome everybody to our first meeting for the Vincent Community Board for 2026 out here in Omakau, and I'd just like to thank you all for coming to join us. We've got quite a few of you here, so that's really nice to see. And welcome back to all of our members after the well-deserved and relaxing break over the Christmas period. So we've got a bit in the public forum, so we're going to crack on and get into this. So first we have apologies. We've got one from Carla Sanders, so I'm happy to move that. I guess seconder. Tony, all in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Well, thank you. Next up, we have got condolences. So can I please ask everybody to stand for a moment of silence for former councillor and VCB member Lindley Lynch. Thank you. I'm going to hand over to her long-time friend and colleague on both council and the VCB, Tarvin.
Yes, it was Lindley was an exceptional woman whose heart had room for everybody. She was diagnosed with cancer just prior to the elections, and her close friends, family, we knew it wasn't, the outcomes was not going to be good. But give you an idea of the sort of person she was. Even though she was in hospital, she still managed to give me a call the day of the election and congratulated me on being re-elected, because that's just who she was. She made a great contribution to this table because she really cared for people, and she went out of her way to bring the underdog's tale to this table. She supported St Bathans community and their Dark Sky project. She was a keen supporter of some developers in this community. Lindley and I clashed on numerous occasions over her willingness to go the extra yard for one or two individuals, but to John and her family, just extend this community board and council's condolences, because she's left a significant hole in our hearts, and our thoughts and prayers go to John and the family. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin. Now we'll move into our public forum. So we do have a few on here. So can we please try our best to stick to the 5-minute mark? Sarah will indicate when you're nearing that point. So first up, we have got Joe and Dawn from Central Otago Netball Centre to talk about the lease. Yes, we just.
We haven't done this before, so we're not.
Welcome.
You don't, Paul.
It's on the chopping blocks a little bit. Well, thank you and good morning to everyone. We're here to represent the Central Otago Netball Centre and our interest with regards to the lease of the Netball Centre. We host over 1,000 players, umpires, coaches, team management every season on a weekly basis, as well as holding key tournaments throughout the year, not to mention the hundreds, if not thousands, of spectators and community that come every week to our venue. We are funded and maintained solely by the netball community. We receive no top-down funding. The courts are currently open unrestricted to the wider public at the Netball Centre's own expense. And we're currently in the process of beginning the very overdue and very expensive process of resurfacing the court services, and the lease is essential before we can go any further with that. We would like it noted that the report's record of the original lease size appears incorrect. The 1990 lease included all land in the two titled areas, totaling 13,500 square metres, not the depicted just shy of 10,000 square metres. For transparency's sake, we would like that corrected. With regards to the report, there were three options presented by the council staff. We'd firstly like to state that option 3 is not an acceptable option. Between option 1 and 2, you will notice essentially the only difference is the 80 square metres, which is the yellow no park area on the south side of the pavilion. We would like to detail why this area is important to a netball centre and why it needs to be deeply considered. We believe that the two options that provide the best solution for the netball centre are either option 1, but with an amendment, which grants the netball centre the right to use the 80 square metres and includes a clause that this area must remain a no park zone for the duration of the lease agreement, or option 2 as it has been presented in its entirety. We make the following points in response to this stance. It is part of the netball centre's health and safety and centre management obligation. This area must always remain clear. This includes for emergency vehicles to access the courts and also the emergency exit to the rear of our building. We have zero intention to use this area for anything other than what is already assigned for. To date, the netball centre actively manages the other sporting groups to keep this area clear. It is a very regular occurrence that other groups attempt to use this area as storage. At the moment, we are managing this and keeping the area clear. Allowing the netball centre to retain this area in their lease or by adding the right of use would mean the netball centre would continue to manage this, which would mean the council would not have to deal with the admin and the compliance burden of this. Unfortunately, our experience with the council over the past 3 years has shown that support from the council when managing groups impeding in our lease is not existent. The football container is a clear example, which despite being dangerously placed without permission on our expired lease area and repeated assurances from the council that this would be removed, nothing has changed. We have little faith that if this group or any other group decided to move something onto the yellow marked area, the council would have the ability to actually deal with moving it. Thirdly, our veranda is actually on the yellow marked area. We're aware this presents maintenance and legal issues, which I'm also aware are happening in other community areas. So should the netball centre not have retain the lease rights or the right of use, there's issues around the veranda. Fourthly, allowing the netball centre to retain lease rights or the right of use would mean that we would also continue managing the ice in the area. I can't imagine the council wants to foot the bill for the contractor call outs at 7:30 pretty much every Saturday morning for 14 weeks to deal with the ice. We also confirm that the area be included in our lease. We do accept the maintenance costs. This has never been questioned. The netball centre is happy to include in the lease agreement that this area will at all times remain a yellow no park zone. Should the board wish to not include this area in a lease, we respectfully request that the council undertakes the same condition in the lease reciprocally. We reiterate the netball centre's view as we believe the two suitable options are either the board accepts option 2, including this area in the lease, or that if the board accepts option 1, there is an amendment allowing the netball centre a right of use and a condition from both the council and the netball centre that this will always remain a no park area. We're not asking for anything special. We're actually asking for less than we already have. We're simply asking for a smaller footprint and protection for our centre for the primarily women and girls in our community. We do believe that the suggestions are reasonable and fair, and that they support the Central Otago District community's wider needs as well as the netball centre. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
No, you timed that perfectly.
That was brilliant.
Whereabouts is the container?
So there's a container that is now will be outside the proposed new lease area.
Yeah. There's two containers there. One's the netball courts, which we are removing, And
which we'll just say, was put there years ago with permission, to meet the conditions of the council. The football one was plonked there on our land.
and dangerous, it's in a dangerous space. It's about that far, there's a gap about that far between the two. Kids are jumping from one to the other.
It's not nice.
It's not good.
We've
We've asked repeatedly for it to be removed and has not been.
nothing's happened, which is, so that area will be outside the new lease boundary.
We will move
It won't be a problem anymore,
off there.
because we couldn't get any help. Yeah.
Anybody else? Awesome, thank you very much for coming along. So your item is into the meeting. About 11 o'clock, rain before.
So do you guys talk about it? How does it actually, we don't know how this works.
So next, yeah, so we'll do the public forum, we'll go through the agenda items, a staff member will, give us a rundown on their report, we'll discuss it and then make the recommendations from there.
Okay.
So you're welcome to stay, or otherwise somebody can let you know afterwards
Okay,
how it goes.
so we don't need to be involved anymore at this point, because
We
we
won't
won't.
ask any questions. No.
You've been very good with the details, so.
So the netball has the exclusive use of this area.
Wow.
It,
Well, it's open to the public.
It is open to the public.
Restricted it.
there was another club involved earlier on, this tennis club many years ago.
They haven't existed.
What about in the future? Like, is there anybody else going to be using the facility or?
Are you talking about the courts or the?
Yeah, well, anything, yeah, the courts and the pavilion or anything like that. So
It's the pavilion that other sporting groups do hire it and use it on occasion on a pay as they go basis.
so that works okay.
That's fine. Yeah, we manage that and look after that. And as far as the courts, they're completely unrestricted, to anyone who wants to come along. We are getting significant amounts of damage, which is not ideal, but, other groups, whether it's orienteering, whether it's, there's an older newcomers group, there's a lot of schools use it like it is, the courts are very much.
Do you hire that out as such?
No.
We don't make people pay for the courts.
No.
No, but for the use of the pavilion, you would, yes.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
to.
So you would reclaim damages there as well. If there was any damage, you mentioned there was some
The
damages.
damages are happening to the courts.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Holes specifically.
We set the rates for the building use to cover any damages.
Hence why you want to resurface it.
Oh, we need to resurface the courts because of that's not damage, that's actually life, wear and tear, and the roots of the trees coming underneath and lifting the court surface. We actually have grass.
Fix the trees as well at the same time.
Oh, we would love the trees to be fixed. We've been told point blank, that's never a conversation we're allowed to
But
have.
if you resurface it, then the trees are going to keep coming through the roof.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we need it.
We would love to have a conversation about the trees, but I don't know if we're allowed to do that now or how that's works. Because the trees are actually destroying the courts.
One last question. You mentioned about the de-icing of the thing. What's involved in that? I'm not sure.
7 o'clock in the morning, we're going out and putting
Spreading
salt and sweeping it around.
So that the kids can play netball.
No, so people can enter without breaking their neck.
Yeah.
I'm well aware of what's happening.
Yeah, it's quite a, this is for the shade and obviously for the.
Some police might be able to no longer play netball. Just black and blue and freezing bits up there through seven.
Dark and you're spreading salt on them. It's great.
Just so you know, we actually have got a workshop this afternoon after the formal part of the meeting around containers and reserves,
Okay.
the reserves team. And also, I've just been told that council last week approved for boards to hear submissions on a number of reserves in the Vincent ward, which will come up at some point in the near future. And those trees in that area will actually be captured in that.
Oh,
So there will be time for another conversation on that shortly.
You'll have the opportunity to submit that to that reserve management plan.
it's gonna cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to resurface those courts. So we don't want to do that if they're gonna keep lifting.
So we get something, there's something in the public to say how we can talk about that, is it?
So what will happen is there'll be the consultation process where you can submit on it. And then the board will hear submissions on that, where you're welcome to come along again if you'd like to talk about it.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But we'll keep you in the loop on that one. I'm just noting that for myself.
That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
One last question, sorry. There's, at the other end of it, you've got the informal car park there. Who's responsible for that? Council.
You guys, which could really do with the grade, I think with us.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's why I was asking.
Yeah, but that's not in our lease area, that's you guys.
It's not an actual car park.
No, it's just a bit of
Full off area, but it's
Yeah.
where a lot of people park,
Oh, yeah,
including the football players and everybody else.
Yeah, yeah,
involved,
yeah.
And softball players.
absolutely, sporting codes all use it.
Yeah.
It's quite frank, if you've got, rugby or whatever going on at the same time as netball, it's not sufficient parking
That's
on the south
right,
side of the
yeah,
pavilion, it's not even close.
We also get quite a bit of stones and stuff
No, it's not.
onto the court surfaces from that area.
Yeah.
Because people, stand hooligans in the car park.
No, that's cool, ladies.
Comes on, we often sweep and record to make.
Doing a great job. Well done.
Guys,
No, thank you very much.
Okay.
And we'll probably see you guys again at some point in the year.
Now too. Yay.
Thank you.
So thank you. Right, up next we have got our Deputy Mayor speaking on behalf of the AMP show, which just a reminder for everybody is on the 14th of February, so please come along and support it. So we're hearing you on that side of the table. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm in my city soon. First of all, just want to say a big thank you again for bringing PCB out to Omcar. It is amazing to be able to attend the places that you go, so keep up that great work. Just here in my capacity is at the moment, the junior, junior vice president. So I've still got a bit of time to go, hopefully, of the AMP show. And Dana and Hayden both send their apologies. I just wanted to say thank you to VCB for support in the past and to just give you a heads up for our day on the 14th. It is Valentine's Day. There is going to be some Valentine's themes floating around, and there may even be a hand type thing happening. So please make sure that if you're able to attend, it would be great to have you there. All the normal activities will be there. All the kids' entertainment is complimentary, as is the tickets. So just if you know anyone from the whole of Central Otago that has got any kids at the school, there is tickets at there. If they haven't been given to them, their tickets are at the office. So they can all come get a ticket and that gets them in and all their rides free. The other thing is there is as you know, behind me, and I'm sure it'll come up again, with the hub being built, there's some changes that we have to make. So we've worked really hard with the plan for transport and parking and where we're going to put all the trades and all the craft sites, etc. I'm very pleased to announce that we are completely full. It's wait list only now, so which is really exciting. Long range forecast at the moment is looking promising. So I just wanted to say thank you for your support, and we really hope that if you get the opportunity to say to somebody, what are you doing on Valentine's Day? We'd love to have them here at the Central Otago AMP show. So that's me.
Thank you.
Well done, Tracy.
Questions or comments?
No,
I was just going to say thank you for having it on Valentine's Day, because now I can be out here in the community and tell someone that it's the date.
oh, just one other quick thing. We're having someone very special open the show this year. And we wanted to keep our local theme, so we decided to use a New Zealand representative, and that is Jed Neville, who is a superstar in curling, and he has represented New Zealand several times now, but he is going to be in our show, and he is a previous recipient of the scholarship as well that the show does. So yeah, which is quite exciting.
Well done.
But anyway,
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
thanks guys.
Do we have anybody here from the Bex Hall? I'm hoping to make it if they could, but I'll just keep it here in case. So next we have got Lindsay.
Good morning, everyone. I've just got one very small issue at the moment. Racecourse Road. Racecourse Road's looking a shambles. The overgrowth on the side of the road, the culverts are full of weeds. We just had two big functions out there at the racecourse. And this is what the people are seeing when they come to the races, when they come to the VC rally weekend. Now, we're not doing 500 or 600 people, there's massive crowds coming out that road, and it looks absolutely disgusting. The other thing I'd like to bring is the last people that got out there and cleaned out the culvert, they were too lazy to move the debris. They in fact put it up on top of the bank, which is my concern, because I like to get out with the rod or mower, and I thought I'd cut down the long grass, once again, a fire risk. They actually threw it up on the bank. So I had put some class steel, bits of gravel, and right on just let off into the fence, which is the right way to go, because the other side was into the big ditch. So I don't know who's contracted to do this work, who oversees it, and who signs it off. But to me, it's a dangerous situation. Once again, you've got risk of fire if the weather had been hot. We've been lucky with the rain we've had. Same with a few other places around Oakland as well, which have been brought to the attention. One is a commercial hotel, and behind there, there's two people that actually back onto that bit of property, and they're going to have their own time now with weed eaters to try and control it, because their houses are worth thousands of dollars. The simple fire in there, devastating. So, but that's about it for me. I think everything is pretty good.
Thank you.
Is there, on the side of the road there, there's water in those ditches?
No,
There isn't, there's no,
very seldom.
very
The
seldom.
whole place out through there is gravel and baseboards underneath, so it disappears.
Just to be so, in the ditch itself, there's no water running through that area.
No, it's not been
spring or anything, so
So this is the blockage down the road further, but
it's just from rain.
rain, overgrowth, even the trees
So-
now are breaking along.
It's blocking it up with the overgrowth.
It's getting too high.
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation is on getting contact with the building, when it's coming back again. But hopefully this time they'll actually load on the back of the truck and get rid of it. And it makes it easier for me to look along the frontage. I've got the two properties along there. Got down Harvey Road on both properties, we ride on mower. It's a racecourse park, but I come across this problem with big humps of all sorts of stuff thrown in there that I've cleaned out the culvert and just threw in the bank instead of throwing in the back of the truck and actually dispersing of it.
Yeah, it makes it hard to maintain.
And at the end of the day, if they want some of the disperse it, I can quite easily take it in my block of land here quite easy. There's no problems there whatsoever, but I like to keep things nice and tidy as well, and to maintain that part of the road would be quite nice.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. So, David and I have said we chat through for asking questions. Once we finish here, we're going to go for a wee drive up and have a look ourselves. And
Peter, you see it twice a day.
Yeah. Seems enough.
I don't think we would have actually get into this conversation, but
I'm a race
he must be focused on getting to work.
I'm a race goer as well, and I've seen it recently, and I did notice that it was.
Well, even this side
I
of
did not-
Stafford Road there, those trees are starting to break away again.
Yeah.
When that long ago, there's a whole heap of trees actually fell over it. Once again, it's a problem with the chainsaw, give me a yell. If it's a problem cleaning up that bit of culvert, I'm quite happy to get a digger and clean along there and get it ready to mow. But it's the rules and regulations, the health side of things as well.
Right, that's good.
thank you, but we'll definitely go ahead and look at that once we finish here.
Fantastic.
And then we'll have a chat with the team. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch. Yeah, I'm going to order here. Next up, we have Andy Daly for Winter Salad from Lord of St. Bethans. Back.
Thank you, kia ora. Yes, so I'm CEO of Winstell Charitable Trust. Most of you know the work that we do, and the Central Otago night skies are unique. We've got the dark skies because of the sparse population, etc., which are good for the environment, human health, cultural and stuff like that. But we've also got benefits of being in the southern hemisphere, so we can see more of the Milky Way than we can in the northern hemisphere. And we're far in the south or close to the south magnetic pole that we get the auroras as well. So that makes it quite unique. as opposed to like sort of Iceland, etc. And we get clear skies because of the range. So all them things together, these night skies we've got here quite unique. And less than 0.001% of the world's population enjoy all those things together. Other bit of data is 70% of visitors to New Zealand consider stargazing to be a factor in their visit. So
What was it again? Sorry, I came up.
70% of visitors to New Zealand consider the dark skies as being attractive the prospect for coming. So the economic benefit of astrotourism is there for the sake of sort of examples are this weekend I've been doing some work with Selwyn Council. We're going to establish 4 dark sky parks up in the Arthur's Pass region. I mean, the logic is it's 1 million people going through there every day. If just 1% stop on the way in Castle Hill or Arthur's Pass, the economic benefit for them would be hugely beneficial, and also spend some time over the summer in Kaikoura. And since the Dark Sky Sanctuary, it's turned into a cowboy scenario and very highly competitive with the astrotourism market there, which I stirred the pot accidentally, but different story. So we need to protect the Central Otago dark skies, and international recognition would be a huge benefit. Another thing about Central Otago is with the rail trail, etc., we've already got the infrastructure in regards to accommodation for cyclists, but in the shoulder season, it would be a benefit to them. So what we need to achieve that, align the lighting plan with what's required from the accreditation, and we're very close to that because I think it's basically copy and paste from the Iraqi Mackenzie. But to get that, that's the wording of that is for precincts, isn't it? Whereas we need to expand that to make it more generic for the area. The other parts of that is what we've been doing with the Interstellar Astro sites, and that is talking to communities so we can demonstrate to Dark Sky International that we have community support to get this protection for the area. So we created our own Otago dark sky accreditation process. Glenn Orkey was the first that did the accredited, and over the summer, Lauder St. Baptist at the Village Fete the other week. That was also a celebration of the Winterstellar Astral Science accreditation. What we've done in creating this program is to make it as accessible as possible. So it's not like 9-year process such as Navy's just had to go through. It's simply you can see from space whether it's dark or not, and so it doesn't require the scientific, and we just need the letter of support from Jaden to give them that accreditation. We plan to expand that project in this year and the next year, dependent on funding which we've applied for from the Otago Community Trust, lotteries, and the Mercatod Trust. So that will help towards a dark sky reserve application for Central Otago. What I'd like to ask of Council VCB is if we can formalise some sort of working group with the people, interested parties, whether it be council and community, to make those changes to the lighting plan and work out which parts of the area are going to be covered and make all those higher level decisions. So that's what my ask is today, that we can start that process and get it done by 2028, total solar eclipse. That's the target. Come for the eclipse, stay for the night sky. We don't know what the weather's going to be like for that 15 minutes of the eclipse, but if they stick around for a couple of weeks, they'll spend some money and they'll bound to get some night skies in the middle of July 2028. So, yes, has anybody got any questions?
Does this have any effect on the, not the setting up of the committee, but the skies? Does it have any effect on any local businesses, you know, like, so is there any rules and regulations that you can't have lights or you've got to turn off your lights at 11 o'clock at night or something along those lines, or is it just declaring an area? There's no adverse effect.
There are lighting changes that need to happen, but it's never to turn the lights off or not develop. It's always just make different lighting decisions. There's good lights and there's bad lights. You can have, motion sensors or, the colour temperature. We're working with Mitre 10 actually for domestic users so that they have a range that we can recommend people to use. So no, it is simply making different decisions and carrying on.
No extra cost for people.
The example that would be of extra cost would be the likes of the sports fields that we're talking about, where they might need higher poles, so they have a shallower sort of angle. But that's in most other cases, the capital expenditure would be similar, but the operating cost would be cheaper because we're talking about lower lights or they're on timers, or etc. So it's usually a win-win in regards to what lighting changes will need to be made.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well done.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And last up in our public forum, we have got Pete on behalf of the BCB's only remaining committee, the Omaka Reserve Committee. Welcome.
Thank you. Pete Sleeman, the Secretary of the Omaka Recreational Reserve Committee. Unfortunately, Dave Coburn, our Chair, is unavailable today, so I've stepped in. A couple of things. We're going to look at how our committee operates and whether we combine with the community hub and other groups within the community and make one group. So that's a discussion that we'll be having in the future around our function and who becomes part of that group, basically. The walking track that we put in is being used by lots of locals and lots of visitors, and we've had some really good feedback around that. We just need to make sure we keep the maintenance up on it. And another thing we're possibly looking at is maybe putting some seating along the way so people can stop and admire them. People are discovering our lovely little camping ground here. We've had some really, really good feedback around people that meet around the traps and talk about the Omaka camping ground and how peaceful it is. Quite often they'll come in for one night, they're just passing through, end up staying for 2 or 3 nights, and we've got up on the notice board some things. There's 10 things to do around the community, and people are taking that on board and staying a few extra nights and doing it. So really good positive feedback. A lot of word of mouth from other campers. They, Sue, the manager there, asked people, "How did you know about us?" "Oh, we were talking to someone somewhere else, and they said come and try it out." So, and the other comments are it's nice, clean and tidy, and great facilities. Now, the facilities, something we've got to look at, or this group will have to look at, is future. The kitchen and the laundry and storage area once this building's removed. So it's really important that we start planning for it now and thinking about. One of the things that we've attracted is a lot of schools repeat coming back. Now, an example is Queenstown Primary School, come here 3 years ago now, and they've come back each year because of facilities. So we've got a kitchen area and dining room where they come in one door, grab their food and come out to the barbecue at the other side, get their meat and go and eat. That works perfectly for the schools because they're catering for those kids and it's simple. It's a walk through. So that's something we're to consider, and obviously the laundry and the storage. That's probably about me at this stage.
Anybody got any questions?
Excuse my ignorance, but what track are you talking about? You were talking about a track.
The walking track that was put in.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jim wasn't on the board.
No.
Right. Jay? Walking track. It runs from the end of Hinton Street and goes over and ends up at the viewing, almost at the viewing platform, at the bridge of the wetlands.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so
Yep.
the end is through the domain,
Yeah.
through the reserve, and then over there. We're calling it the loop, so people can go in either way, round and come round the rail trail and back again. Yeah,
Been along the rail trail, I know where the bridge is, so.
yeah, so off to the left, coming into here. Eventually, we'd like to hook it up to the hub. It'll come possibly all the way to the hub, and so it's a complete loop around. But lots of visitors are doing it. It's on, once again, we've got it on the notice board for anyone that's in the camp, and they quite often go for a wee wander. So, yeah.
You also mentioned about the schools. What are the schools coming here? Like what their activity like?
Heaps of space. They quite often ride the rail trail. So we have, Queenstown's example, they get, it was 94 children. They get 2 hire cycle companies because one can't supply enough bikes. One day they'll go to the tunnels. The next day they'll go down to Shadow Creek and back again, basically. Other schools, we've got a school from Sydney that comes over, been coming for 3 years now, and they love the space, and it was a bit cold this year, and they were told this is about an experience around real camping, I suppose, for the one. Their actual base is in a high-rise building in Sydney, and their play area or their breakout area is on the roof of that building. So they come out and they cycle on the rail trail, and they do the whole thing from middle March to July every year.
So the main attraction is the rail trail or the space and the scene.
The space. We have target girls from Dunedin come up and they go to the local school. They spend a day there with the kids. They went and did ice skating. They don't do the rail trail, but they have the space. They've got the turf they can run around. They've got the rugby fields they run around. They just like the space and the piece and the facilities.
Cool. You talk about the consequence of demolishing this. So has that conversation, I don't want to be controversial or anything, but has that conversation not been had in connection with the hub development?
Yep, yeah, we're working with them.
Okay.
Yep. But I guess where I'm coming from is it's probably council that's going to build this new building. So you need to be aware that, it's going to be some money spent and we're going to make it practical.
We do have funding for long-term plan.
Yeah,
There is.
yes, but yes.
All under control. Yeah, can't knock down one resource and not have the funds to replace it. That would be interesting.
Cool.
No, thank you very much for coming along and thanks for all the work you guys do in advocating for this space, because I guess a lot of people don't realise, and I didn't until we had that first meeting here, just how large this reserve is and how much of a chunk of the area it takes up. So thank you.
Cool.
And that concludes our public forum. So thank you to everybody that's come along and spoken today. It's always nice to get out here into the community, and we look forward to doing it again next year. So if we move to page 7, we'll find the minutes from our meeting on the 18th of November 2025. Is somebody happy to move those? Martin, second.
Yep.
Tony, all in favour?
Aye.
Aye, against? Carried. Right, and then page 13, declarations of interest. So just a reminder to be vigilant with those, update them when you need to, and step aside in any conversations. You have a
I've got
couple
one selection for Leaning Rocks, no longer an incorporated society. I don't think we've quite got a bank account closed, but it's not far off.
Are there anything on needs to be cleared at this meeting? We'll move on then. Right, community police update. So Henry was an apology this morning. So when we set this up, I'd given all of the dates. Unfortunately, the last one, something came up right before this one hadn't worked, but I had had confirmation from the office and Alex that they have locked in every other date for the remainder of the year. So they will be here for those ones. If things come up, obviously, they won't be able to, but we will get something. It'll be good to see them at the next one in Clyde.
Thomas, yeah.
I've had some good conversations about it.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to agenda item 2613 on page 17, which is a progress update on the Mahia Valley Community Hub. And welcome Tara, Patty, do you want to join this one?
Morning.
Morning.
I'll take the update report as read, so you've had a look through that. We've made some good progress and we've had some ups and downs in the last couple of months. So construction started just before Christmas and in December, and we got some concrete foundation poured, everything set out. And unfortunately we had, since then we've had some delays. So the reason for those have been to do with some irrigation flooding, which happened 3 times, unfortunately, and it was due to equipment failures. So water got into the foundations and had to be pumped out a couple of times. And there was one in January, which we still need to deal with, getting some silt removed from there. We've also had some delays caused to do with design coordination. We've had between the architect and services. So to stop the any further delays, we've the contractor has now taken over that design coordination. So he'll be dealing with that directly, and any minor design changes will be done by then in the future. So overall, the program is probably about 4 weeks delay, but we're looking at completing February 2027. The contractor's off-site at the moment because we're working on plumbing and drainage design, but we're hoping by the end of next week they'll be back on site.
So the flooding issues have cost us a little bit extra money, and each time it costs us estimated about $4,000 or $5,000. Part of the problem with that has been the A&P show. So we're trying to get the grounds ready for horses to be able to run. Actually said they like the ground a bit softer, and same with the rugby grounds. So they've tried to irrigate it, and we've had a couple of failures, and as a result, we've ended up with flooding. The very last one, was actually a complete equipment failure that we ended up with water out on the state highway. So it was significant. So I guess one of the things, if the council can sort those bits of equipment out, would really take some pressure off us, because it's not going to be the last time we need to irrigate, and it's going to be competing with the rugby grounds, and the sports grounds are going to be competing with the hub, and we don't want to be delayed anymore. So if that could be made a priority, would be great. Thank you.
It's just unfortunate timing, because once the foundation is done and the slab's poured, it's not this big an issue. It's when you've got trenches open.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Timing has been the worst. If we managed to start a bit earlier, we were delayed by the designing of the building, finalising the design, the design work. If we would have been all right, but we're just a little bit behind it, which is now put us a little bit further behind. So kind of hoping that next year's meeting would be able to be in the new one. So you might have to have it a little bit later in the year, the new building. But other than that, with regards to costing and everything, I think we're still we are well on track to be under
what the original budget was, but we are starting to eat into that reserves that we had with just a few of the issues we had, and we've had I'm not sure that is explained to you, but in the design, some of the design changes, we found that we needed, we didn't have the space to put one of the tanks right beside the building, so we've had to move it away from the building. As a result, that's sort of a bonus. Initially, we didn't think we needed a tank, then we needed a tank. That's actually turned into a bonus because it's going to make the building better for the defence situation, because it'll have its own water supply, drinking water supply, and it'll have its own pump system because we've got our own power system. That means that we will be able to operate it on days like everywhere else in this valley's got no power except for home care. I understand at the moment, days like that, you'll be able to carry on running. Yep. So it's an extra cost, but it's turned into a bonus.
That's good.
So the fundraising wise, we are really starting to head into the big push for community fundraising. So that's going to the businesses and going to the farmers and local community people that looking for sponsorship and funding. So we really appreciate the extra funding that the top up funding that the shortfall funding, I should call it, because we're trying to make it as little as possible, that the VCB approved last year. And so we're really appreciative of that and thank the VCB for all the support they've given us. So yeah, wouldn't have been able to do this project without that last little bit. And the idea is if we can fundraise enough that we won't need to use that, but we're not going to say we don't need to use it just yet. Yeah, but it's allowed the building to be built. So really appreciate it. Thank you.
What's your sort of confidence around that 600 odd? Yep, from community support here, kind of getting.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's good. So yeah, we haven't really done the big push on that fundraising. We have a bigger fundraising event planned for later in the year, which we'll probably hoping to use the old hall, but it depends on the ownership situation of that hall. And that would be a big point to push for the final fundraising. But with the project being delayed a little bit, we've got a little bit more time, I guess. Yeah.
You'll have something to show for it. Yeah, we have a lot of time to do that.
Yeah. And we've obviously, with regards to running costs, because that's always the next, one of these, we've set up the golf day that we have once a year. We're going to keep doing that each year, and that's help towards the running costs, and then looking for sponsorship of it, and then of course the use of the building to be able to fundraise, and we've also cost down of running it as well. So added in the solar project as part of on top of it, and also with having electric car charging available too, they'll pay to be able to use that space as well. So there'll be funding coming from that too, and that's an annual figure, and that's part of what we're trying to do with linking up the as Pete mentioned before about the trail down the bottom of the domain. So if we can make that so it goes alongside of the sports fields down there from the hub and right back around, people that are travelling from Dunedin, Oamaru, Queenstown can stop, charge their electric car, go for a walk for half an hour, 30 minutes, come back fully charged, away they go again. Might even be able to have it so there's people can stop and get a coffee, that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it opens up quite a few cool opportunities.
On the irrigation piece, it is in the LTP for this board to consider. So a big manual K-line system and aging units and everything. So
and that's obviously going to be concerned, and as Pete mentioned before about the removal of this building, because that's in the long-term plan and the step-by-step process. I obviously want to build another building closer to where the ablutions block is now, probably in the same design, all that sort of stuff. But if we do that, then we will have an issue with the pumping, because the pumping will be essentially the pump is out there. So unless it's a standalone shed there, we might want to consider moving it to another location so that it's not essentially in the middle of where the new part of the campground or parking could be. So just something to bear in mind when you do that. We need to plan that into it. So if we are looking at doing a major upgrade of the irrigation, we want to move that at the same time.
Was that being factored in, so?
It will be.
We've looked at all the new things, so yes, we
Sure, they've covered in chat. Have you?
If you communicate with
Yeah.
myself and Dave and Pete, because I'm on that board as well, you see, so. And with regards to this building here, there's no intention to try and knock this one down if we've got something else established. And obviously the next step in the community fundraising would be, after we finish this project, we then move on to that one and do that as well. So we'll be coming to the council for some more support. But as Gordon has mentioned earlier, there is funding in that in the long-term plan, but whether that's enough to fund what we have envisaged, yet to see.
Any other questions?
The flooding, if you're flooding down onto the main road, what's happened there? Is it some, you said some equipment failure?
Yeah, right first. Yes, when the pump was running and gets too hot, the tap had been turned off, and then essentially they overheated, burst the pipe, and the pipe then has all the water coming from the water race, which is coming from the Annika Irrigation Company, has decided to just go out there, goes round the side of the field and through the foundations.
The pipes about that, they will do, Jim, so it gets a bit of water out.
Yeah.
There was a lot of swearing.
Oh, I'd imagine so.
I think we all enjoyed those phone calls over the Christmas break, going, oh, the site's flooded.
Yeah, okay.
No, thank you very much, and thanks for all the work you guys are continuing to do in that space. I'm excited to get in there soon.
Yes, it's just taking
So we-
longer.
There's not much to see there today, but
Yeah.
you know.
It sounds great. It'd be a good community asset.
So it has come a long way since the sod turning, given that there was Christmas and everything in between. Yeah, really impressed to see how far it has come.
Yeah, that's good.
Well done.
Cool, thank you.
It's worse.
Okay.
Well, can I get somebody move that we received that report? Tony, seconder, Jan, all in favour? Against, carried. Oh, efficient, so that moves us on to 2614 on page 24, which is the granting of a new lease to the netball centre.
Hello.
You've got
Has everyone met Michelle?
no.
No, I've some, but yeah,
So Michelle joined my team early last year.
yeah.
And she's this part of the statutory team under Zelda. And it's actually, this team's really come together and shown some great progress in getting ahead of all the leases and licenses. So great team.
Well done.
So, regardless is read, the purpose is to put in place a new lease that is currently expired for the netball centre, who were just speaking before. All in regards to our policy that is actually getting reviewed at the minute, but for what we have in place at the moment. And for the most part, the netball centre have agreed on the lease area, but as you would have heard, there's a few options there in respect to the car park. So for your opinion on that.
Just a couple of things raised earlier. So we've had discussions with the netball people on the trees. We've agreed to get fence along the back of the tree, on the back of the, what do you call those practice courts, I suppose, one would be the term, this year. And the rest of the trees will be part of the LTP process. That's, they're designated for future recreational spaces. So we need to put that through the LTP for some funding to do that, and what we're going to do, and then consult the community on what we're doing next as well, which will include consult with them. Probably won't be probably part of a reserve management plan, because Lonely Park's already got one. But it will be part of a further consultation through the LTP, so people will get a say on that and will be able to come to the board and say. So that piece of land will be, although it's not in the current management plan, sorry, it will be part of an updated management plan for that Colony Park, sorry, getting myself confused, but yes, so there's two lots of consultation for that to happen, and we need some funding to make it happen as well.
We have suggested to the group that they can engage someone like the Lions Club to remove a few pesky trees. So we just said we didn't have it in our budget to do it, but they were welcome to organise that. So yeah, we've opened most of the doors for them to proceed.
For clarification, the tree we're talking about, towards the golf club?
Yes, and they
It's on the west side.
directly on the side of the.
See, and that asphalt area is, you see the kids warming up or sometimes playing games, so that's actively used. It should be the worst affected area.
Which is outside their lease.
Yeah, they haven't wanted it.
There's no one there.
So they haven't talked about that. No. But they're the trees you're going to have to crack at some roots on.
Yeah,
Yes.
just so they can have comfort when they do their resealing. So that we can.
Lions Club are interested in taking the trees down.
Haven't had that conversation. But they were talking about alternatives and we're not trying to be a barrier to entry. So we just said, well, Lions Club have done it before and they can produce a health and safety plan and drop some trees and give, firewood to the community or sell it or whatever. So we were in agreement with that. It's just, when they came to us with the request, there was no money in the budget for us to deal with the trees. So that was one of the suggestions we made.
And then, so through the LTP process, we're also going to be seeking some funding to do it if
Yes.
that, right, if the Lions don't pick up.
We'll need to de-stump it and.
Yeah.
Side out, so whether the top of the tree is there or not, we need to do something with ourselves.
Yeah, it didn't appear to be something netball wanted to take on anyway. They would rather just left it with us, and that's why they've chosen to not take on that extra practice court area. They just want their boundary put to what we put in the recommendation. It took a bit to get to that. But yeah, really the only bit that's outstanding is in respect to the car park at the moment.
Regarding the concerns the netball club raised with the container, the new container.
Well, the more you talk about it.
So yeah, that container was approved by this board. You remember 3 or 4 years ago, the football club came on, so that was there. And I think the location was, I'm not quite sure how it ended up where it ended up, but there was discussions with some people that they don't work here any longer. But their containers going in, and this is launched out sort of this year, and let's have a container policy so we don't get in this situation going forward. So Maria's going to discuss the draft container policy with
Later today. Why? The issue they've raised is the proximity, because they're so close together.
Yeah.
That it's become a piece of play equipment for kids. They know what kids do. Aren't we in the short term just get the football club to move it? Something more appropriate?
The netball club have given up that area and they moved in their container.
Yeah.
And the football club do want to move their container just to another location. They just haven't decided on that just yet. So because this is community group containers, it's just time and money. But the containers are quite close, and whether you've got 1 or 2 containers there, the kids are still going to climb onto it. The fact that it's closer, it's just easier to step across.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking it's not more dangerous, it's actually less dangerous the way it is now.
Have you communicated that back to the netball club?
We've had multiple discussions.
Yeah, I think that's part of sort of why it's ended up here as well. There's been multiple discussions that the team been working through, and it's sort of just got to a point where the team wanted to be able to bring the final solution to this board to.
And that's the some sort of policy about containers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the containers, so to be clear, this is to deal with the lease.
Yeah.
The containers are going to be dealt with in a separate.
Yeah.
Same with the trees and the separate.
Yeah.
The containers are not only on Molyneux Park, they're on a number of other council reserves through the district. So we need some consistency on how they get there, how long they're there for, and all that sort of stuff.
illegal clubs and things, Woody, the clubs and.
Clubs, some have permission to put it contained and some have just put them there. So,
Yeah. But it's
It's
a structurally sound structure. So it's
Yeah.
a very cheap solution for storage, which is why they propose it. And it does work in some areas, but that's why we need a container policy to say, how many years do you have to clear it, do you have to discard it somehow? So there just needs to be some sort of direction.
Can you please just, because I'm looking at these maps and I just think I've got myself confused. Which part are they wanting the car park with the yellow lines?
So if we are looking at the actual building on any of these maps, I'm looking at figure 2 at the moment,
Okay.
which is page 26. You'll see that there's an area of car park just in front of the building, if you look in close enough, that has actually got yellow lines in it already, which in my understanding is that you don't park there.
Yeah. Well, they wanted that because that's where I'm confused. There's already a yellow line there, so it's already a no parking zone. Are they wanting this extended beyond that?
I don't believe that they want it extended, they just want it to be their no parking zone.
But it's still a no parking zone.
Yeah, they want that included.
park on site.
Yes,
Yeah,
well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That is the problem.
that's just what I mean, even if whether it's part of their lease or it's not, and it's yellow line, people do still park there.
When we look at where that circular track is on the same map, there is a bus on that side of it. And on the adjacent side, towards the school, towards Dunstan, there is some wheelchair parks. Unfortunately, how it all works to the side of that is there's no lip for other access or anything like that. People in a wheelchair would have to go up towards the building to get onto either the fields or to the netball courts. And people using the bus park would also be expected to cross along that no park area that is already in yellow to safely get to the other side too. So I feel that if we were to give the netball court sold right over this would actually take away from the public's access to safely cross. But I do wonder whether there could be some signs maybe put on the building that say no parking. Obviously, the ground's not working. Maybe we just need something a bit clearer. Bollards, possibly, but we also need to remember that if an ambulance came or something like that, we need to make sure that they're safe.
The bus needs to turn around.
Yes,
Yeah. Would it stop the public from being able to access that space, given that this group already, they've got the lease over the netball courts, yet they still let the public use them?
It's not going to stop the public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I would have asked them, but I'd only just zoomed in and actually realised how big that yellow
Yeah,
is.
it would be their concern rather than our concern, but at the end of the day, it's not supposed to be parked on reviews like that anyway, no matter whose land it is.
We usually don't give up public parking or non-park zones to vehicles. So, and there's multiple, even in Clyde, we've got boxy box in the railway, they don't have any rights over a car park.
Yeah.
So there's a public car park and that's what it's designed to do.
I don't think the netball club's going to die in the ditch over this one.
No.
No. They were indicated that they were quite happy with option 1. But you're right, some better signage down there would certainly alleviate some of those parking concerns.
Yeah.
And the reality is that it's a public car park and it's when there's a lot of sports tournaments on there, it's not big enough for everybody, and that's hence the reason why you have the spillover on people cutting across the rail trail and parking along that fence line. Yeah.
I'll take that, Martin, as you're happy to move.
I'm quite happy to move
A and B?
A and B, yep.
Have a seconder? Jim? Further comment? All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you.
Well done, you guys. Well done. Well done.
So now move on to 2615 on page 72, the Alexandra Golf Club shed. We almost kept the exact same team.
But just quickly, I'd like to introduce Angie as well. So Angie joined the property team and is the Vincent property officer. She won't be presented today, Zelda will be presented. This was just an introduction.
Welcome, Vincent, along.
Yeah, the writing report was mainly Ange, just with inputs from the statute team regarding the legal requirements such as the minister's consent. So the Alexandra Golf Club just wants to put up a shed at their premises, and they are leasing that. It's reserved land, so what is required is your authority in terms of your delegated authority from the Minister of Conservation to approve this new shed. I take the reports for you, so you would know the reasons why that is being done. Also, we're recommending in recommendation C that we include this building in as part of the lease because that's the way the lease was structured. So all the improvements are listed in the lease. We also suggest or recommend that we include in the variation the clause that covers us when the lease eventually expires for the buildings to be removed at the cost of the lessee, or if we want to retain them, then we'll do so. So just move for that to be accepted.
Any questions or comments on this one? This one seems pretty straightforward. I'm happy to move A, B, C, and D as they are. Seconder? Yep. Tony? Great. All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Thank you. Nice, Angie. Cool. So now we move on to 2616 on page 88, which is a report coming back to us from our inaugural meeting, which is the appointments to subcommittees and other community appointments. Welcome, Wayne.
Morning, everyone. I'll take this report as read, though I guess developments have happened where I suppose what we're thinking of is now happening.
So we can we'll just jump into it then.
We'll just jump straight into what you're thinking.
Okay.
The easiest way.
So obviously we have had a chat. I'm just pulling it up again now. Members have had it emailed around. So there's a small amendment to that one, which obviously we've dealt with. So what we've got at the moment, and please amend away if you wish, is that we've received the report and accept the level of significance. Appoints the following community liaison representatives as liaisons for the 2025-28 triennium, which would be to the Alexandra District Museum Incorporated, which would be Martin, and to the Clyde Historical Museum Committee, which would be Tony. Steve then agrees to trial transition from individual member appointments from other organisations to a sector-wide engagement model. D appoints Carla Sanders and Jim Moffat to lead the development and delivery of these meetings during the 2026 trial period. E reaffirms the board's ongoing support for all community organisations and invites feedback from any group regarding this trial model. And D directs the chief executive to communicate these decisions to the relevant groups. Any comments or questions on this one?
Probably just say, I think this looks really exciting for the community and good on you guys for trying something different. I think it could be very well received and isn't necessarily to the detriment of any of those other groups that don't have an official liaison. I think if anything, that opens it up. So I'd like Jim and Carla and the others too. I'm sure take a lot.
And I did just want to note that even though we've got it written in there, just for those other organisations, that this doesn't mean that the board is suddenly going, we no longer support the work that you're doing in the community. It's the opposite. This is a new way of engaging with you in a hopefully a more meaningful and engaging and active way. And we do want to hear from you, and we do still want your involvement with what you're doing in the community. And they're all very vital and important parts of this community. this is just a new and exciting way of trying things, while also balancing the fact that this board has signalled that the museum strategy is a really important thing to it. Hence, for the time being, that we continue to have those liaisons with the two museums. So can I have somebody please move A, B, C, D, E, and F? Jim? Yep. So you'll second it. All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Nice and easy. Now, thank you for that one, Wayne, and you're here for the next one too, aren't you? Page 91.
Yeah, I'll take this report as read also. There's the Zone 5 and 6 conference in Christchurch in April. I believe was canvassed as to if anyone wanted to attend, and Carla put up her hand that she would like to attend. So this is just according to our policies, go through the commissions to get her to that conference. That's pretty much it. If you've got any questions, it'll go to council after this.
Yeah.
For the purse strings.
I'll move it.
Awesome. Seconded by Jim. All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried.
Easy.
Oh, thank you. Right, well, we're moving through these parts. Right, now 2618 on page 94, which is the Mayor's report. Welcome, Tamer.
Thank you very much. Sarah, I have made some notes, so I will send them to you. So you should thank you. So welcome back to everyone from the holidays. All our schools are now back in session, which is wonderful news for local parents. It's yours not.
No, we're back tomorrow.
Oh, sorry, Terrace parents. You've never complained to your Board of Trustees chair. I attended the St Bathans Community Fete, which was a wonderful event and thoroughly enjoyed by all, especially the gold dig down by the lake for kids, complete with a treasure chest full of crunchy bars. There were egg and spoon races and a tug of war. The Vincent rally was held on the weekend and it moved from Galloway to Omakau, which was very well received. We had a couple of nasty accidents. So shout out to our volunteer fire brigade and St John people. But for the most part, feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Our incredible roads were noted multiple times for their lack of potholes and touted as some of the best in the country for riding motorbike on. So thank you very much. Some big projects are happening in this ward for 2026, including the upgrades of the Little Valley Bridge beginning this month, watching the Manahira Care Hub come to life outside here, and the planned establishment of a new turf in Alexandra as the team there continue their hard work at fundraising. We will also welcome a new elected member, and voting papers are landing in letterboxes now. There are challenges and opportunities ahead in the shape of proposed government reform, especially simplifying local government, which will change the way our regional council works, and potential rates capping, which will shape how this council operates when we head into our long-term plan for 2027. We continue to work towards the establishment of our new water entity and have welcomed Bruce Gemmell as the establishment chair and Fiona Smith as the program director. We're excited to have such outstanding candidates to lead this work for us, and have a workshop later this week to look at the draft shareholders agreement with our partner councils. I'll keep you updated on everything that's happening in that space. To take questions, otherwise I'll send to Sarah.
Questions?
Did a fleeting one halfway through, but I forgot.
It's all good. Just for the media, like just for the media in the room, like you hear that about the roads for motorcycles, isn't that great? Trying to put the story on you there.
That's a good thing to hear amongst a lot of planning issues.
It was really good because it is probably one of the things that we got the most feedback, often negative about. But when you look around the country, actually most of our roads here are pretty good, noting that the majority of motorbikes were not travelling on our unsealed roads, and those require a different type of motorbike.
No, in the holidays, I was driving, I can't remember which part it was, but on the way to Dunedin, and it was outside of our district, I actually pulled over because I thought I had a flat tire. The road was so bad, and it was a state highway. It was between Milton and Dean. I went over one patch of it, and I just thought this is ridiculous. And so it shows that our roads are quite good compared to other parts, with sealed ones.
It's good drive to the west coast.
They had about 800 at their rally, but is that bigger than what they used to get?
Out bigger, driven on the road, but that just as a purely objective. I think the weather helped. That was really good. I mean, the dry roads were perfect, but
And the dates a week ahead or half week ahead of Burt Munro, I wonder if that helped them.
yeah, and I think often is quite close because everybody's hitting this area anyway. But no, the people that I stopped and chatted to were feeling pretty positive about it being here at this location in Manukau. So yeah, might continue.
Okay, well, I'll move that the mayor's report be received. Tony, happy to second it? Yep. Cool. All in favour? Against? Carried. And that moves us straight into the chair's report. So, I've noted a few things down. Wasn't as organised today. So firstly, I hope everybody had a relaxing break over the holiday period. So all to members and staff, because it was a busy year last year, and it's looking like this year will be just as busy, if not busier. So I hope we've got that chance to put the computers and the phones down for a few days. It's exciting with the report we had earlier around the different groups and the new way we're going to be doing things while we engage with the community. So I just want to strongly encourage everyone on this board and for all community organisations and individual members of the community to get involved and embrace this as we try this out. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the work that Jim and Carla do in this space. So we have a busy year ahead following Council's recent meeting where it was decided we'll be hearing submissions on 14 reserves across the Vincent ward in the near future. 14 is correct? Or have I got that number wrong? Look on your face. Okay. There's also going to be, if everything goes to plan, consultation on the trees on the state highway outside of Molyneux Estate will open in April, so it'll be really good to get involved in that one. I've had a number of members of the community already reaching out trying to get exact dates on that, so I'm anticipating there'll be quite a bit of public feedback for that one. Our council is also looking at its museum strategies, and so obviously that could have some major implications for the Vincent ward with Clyde and Central Stories. So I'm really glad to see that we'll have Tony and Martin leading the board's response in that space. Obviously, work's also underway in the long-term plan, and so we'll need to start looking at how the VCB wants to deal with that and what sort of recommendations we'll be making to council on that. I'm just going to commit to the same thing as last time, that, you know, we are out there talking to the community as much as we can, hearing what they're saying, looking at their aspirations for the Vincent ward, but also being realistic about the financial reality that we're in. And I think that's going to be even more important with the government's changes with rates caps and everything that will be coming soon. Also excited to share that I have joined the LGNZ Young Elected Members Committee as their Community Board rep, and in turn the LGNZ Community Board Executive Committee is the Young Elected Members Community Board member. So I'd like to actually thank Cody Tucker, the QOC councillor, and Monica Uppercluth, Community Board member, for the nomination, along with Lisa Bingley from the Wainui Omata Community Board up in Hutt City Council for that nomination. I really appreciate that. So essentially this role gives Vincent another seat at a national table to have those conversations. There's obviously a lot of changes going on in the local government space, and no matter how the election goes, that's not going to change. And I'm very passionate that what CODC is doing is a good model, and especially if regional councils are going, I believe that there's a bigger part for community boards to play. And so I'm going to be advocating that as much as I possibly can over the next term. So that is quite exciting. But yeah, as you can see, there's quite a bit going on for Vincent that we already know of, and obviously more things will come up over the year. And I really look forward to working with you all over this busy next 12 months. I'm happy to move that my report be received. Jim will second it. All in favour? Yes.
Okay.
I should have said, were there any questions, but.
Well done.
Thanks. And that will move us into members' reports. So should we start, Martin?
Oh, thank you very much. I'll just catch up on what was discussed at the last council meeting. Council has agreed to continue the funding for the museum trust for the oversight of the museums in the district. We had a very positive report back from Te Potawai, which is the local government review of council's operation, a report on how we do our business, and it was overall very positive. It's still it noted the areas where we have improved and where there's room for further work, but generally speaking, it painted a very good picture of how we do our job. You've all read that we also discussed the Santana agreement as far as access to our roads are concerned, and you've all read that it's been covered off in the media. I'd just like to make the comment that we haven't sold our souls out to Santana, even though the CEO might have thought so. By Santana slots, comment on the paper, we're endorsing the paper. It's by no way can be read as an endorsement of what's happening. It was sort of mechanics of getting access to roadways. As Jayden has mentioned, there's possibly 14 reserves management plans going to be progressing in the not too distant future. And council is making a number of submissions to Wellington on the reforms to RMA, rates capping and other work that Wellington's imposing on us. And we also council agreed on the tenets of where we're taking ourselves going forward, and one of the main priorities for council for the 3 years is funding, because rates cap's going to have a significant impact on the work, and change to Three Waters is going to have a significant impact on the work we do. So alternative funding and rates review is one of our high priorities. So that's where we're at. And apologise for my inability to string words together, but my brain is completely fogged with resonance.
Thank you. Thank you. Jim.
Couple of things. While we're in Armidale, on Sunday they had an open day on the wetland just over the bump here. I think it's an outstanding project to demonstrate the power of the community. And what you see is about a tenth of what they've done. Probably they've gone up the creek and fenced and protected whitebait sources. There's a whole bunch of things that came out of the day, which is just outstanding. It's a shame it doesn't get to the front page. The same way that Dairy Cow and Creek might if it was in the same place. Also, it's a pretty good model. They funded it predominantly from tapping government sources of funding too. So it's been a really good project for that. And also I did a weeding reclaim day on the half mile. And as much as you get enthusiastic about the group of volunteers, you get a little bit nervous about the average age and wonder in 10 years' time who's going to be doing the work. When we put that on top of council rate capping, it's not going to be council. And we've got a bunch of those groups that you just kind of start to think a little bit 10 years out, who they're going to be.
Thank you. And I think that actually touched on a really important point, that we're not just seeing in our area, but across the country, where the volunteer sector is struggling because the population of tend to volunteer are retiring and getting older and aren't able to do as much as they used to.
Retired.
Yeah, they are retired, but retiring from volunteering now. And it is a big challenge that New Zealand faces as a whole. If you look at what volunteers do, especially in smaller communities, there's going to be a very, very big hole. That I'm unsure how that's going to be filled.
That leads into all the sports clubs and things as well.
Businesses, stuff like that.
Well,
It was actually highlighted in the health sector because whilst we didn't have secure healthcare facilities, then one partner but needed a full-time care. They ended up in Dunedin or Invercargill, so we didn't just lose them out of the volunteer, we lost their spouse as well because they went. So yeah, we kind of read it a few years ago.
Two quick things to add. One is a positive one, that my teenager at home recently announced that when she goes back to Dunedin for her final year of study, she thought she might have some capacity for volunteering, and she was going to look for something to volunteer at in Dunedin. So I've given her a list of different places. She was quite keen on the SPCA, understandably, but I did say that there are other options as well. And the second thing, you heard it here first, VCB, I have just received a letter from Minister Jones to say he accepts my kind offer and that we will find a date to host him here.
Awesome. Great work on that one.
See how we go.
It's the province of
Breaking news. So, right, so I'll move that the members' reports be received.
Yep.
Oh, all in favour? Yep. Aye, against, carried. I was just making sure we still had the right numbers to actually do it. All right, so let's just on to, just item 26.1.11 on page 97, which is the governance report. And so we'll start with the update on Riverside Park and then move on to Maria. So, Gordy.
rabbits. Like they real often, and this lady was so excited about the Italian. It's just, yeah, boy, they got some good stories.
Okay, so yeah, so Kaimoana Hei River Park, so an update. So just like yesterday, we received information from the contractor that due to unforeseen circumstances, they're no longer able to continue with the project because they were going to do the next stage.
Yeah.
So we now need to enter that stage out, the next stage out on the market and with the plans we have. So that's the, I guess the lookout art with the Pauwhenua artwork involved in that and some cultural designs in the paving and things like that. So we'll need to put that out through the process because we do have budget, we hope, depending. So we'll put that out with people to do that. So that's a little unfortunate in timing. They had promised they're able to do it, but now they can't. So I guess on a good positive note, that really means we can move forward and get that underway. However, that is, as I said, the viewing platform rails and the other bits and pieces. It's unlikely we will have budget for the proposed trail down to the river because of the unknown ground conditions there, where we'll have to drive piles and we don't know how deep. Could be 2 meters, will be more than 2 meters. It's somewhere at least 6 meters plus, and then getting them straight. And with the river playing up, the contractor at the time was unable to say it's going to cost X. So we will wait and see until we get the project costed for the platform stage and viewing platform stage, and then we'll see what's left. Otherwise, we might need to consult the board and go take to the LTP if we need to continue with that project, part of the project. Other than that, yeah, well, it's just be probably a month before we get to get that contract in order and things. So that's another update at the next meeting. Really, will be a bit further along by then.
Is that like possible basically?
For this stage, I don't believe it will cost more. It'll cost putting it out again now with competitive entering the market, we might do all right. When the market is what people wanting to do that. So, it could be a number of firms locally, hopefully will be able to put their hand up to do this. It's not overly technical.
Might just add to that too, Jim, we've had the design and everything for the viewing platform come back, so that's still got to go in for consent. To be approved, so I guess when we go out to tender for the completion of that, it'll be to tender on these specific designs to have that finished and it's consented on, and then the ramp down, I guess being a riverbank, there's so many unknowns and we have to work really close with Heritage New Zealand and things, so you remember this board approved a bit more money for that ramp, and then so probably the next meeting we would come back and suggest that the ramp becomes part of the LTP. That's spending extra.
We know once we get the price for the viewing platform.
It's a plan for the working group to meet at any point soon.
It will be. Once we get this project. Yeah, there's been no point because there's been nothing sort of to meet about, so we'll get that out of the way then.
It's going to be a good project to write a bit of a story on at the end of the day. It's been a very intricate project working across, a flood bank, land that used to be used in lots of different ways.
Dumping site.
A dump, just yes.
It's very visual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we are. So hopefully some quicker progress will happen now.
That'd be good to see.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Maria, so introducing the Central Otago Play Innovation Week.
Thank you. And I can behind us. Yes, 14 reserves. You're right, Jordan.
Thank you.
Including Molly.
Including Molyneux.
Yeah. Right, so today I am updating you on the Central Otago Play Innovation Hui. And just to explain what that is, I need to bring us back to a project that we've been working on and developing in the background, Central Otago's first play strategy. Traditionally, councils have provided play opportunities through assets like playgrounds, skate parks, bike parks, and similar facilities. When we got started on this work, we recognised that we had a clear play district-wide strategy for how we plan, prioritise, and think about what, these play assets over time. So this project is giving council a really strong framework to guide future decisions around these spaces and investments, making sure that we plan consistently and with good information. So we've talked about why play matters, and obviously health is a really big component of that, but there are some other aspects to that too. So it really adds to how welcoming and livable our cities feel, not cities, sorry, towns, whether families choose to stay or settle here, how young people can use public space and community connection and vibrancy. So a well-designed play environment also supports that. I think, I'm not sure, why are we doing this work? Probably go to the next slide would be good. Yeah, cool, and the next one too. Yeah, thank you. Cool. So yeah, well-designed play environments, they are also going to support independence, confidence, and social skills in young people, which has a flow-on effect for community well-being, safety, and participation. So just bringing you up to speed a little bit what we've done so far. You already know about this, but we did the survey, we did the play challenge, the targeted youth engagement. We went very heavy on the pre-engagement, and it's put us in a really good position. We've got lots of information, done our research. So where we're at now, we've reached a key milestone. The draft play strategy has been developed. It will come to council in the next meeting, and then we will hopefully go out consultation. So we're moving from listening and research into refining and testing our approach. Next slide, please. Go past that too. Cheers. And the next one. Thank you. I'm forgetting about my one job there. Cool. A really important part of this work, excuse me, has been engagement with mana whenua through a kaha. For a district like ours, where identity, landscape, and heritage are central, it is important that we provide play opportunities that reflect connection to place and local values. So this is a really exciting step in this project too. I just wanted to touch on that. On to the next slide, please. So when we did this research, we did look to other councils, but what we found was that we are really different here in Central Otago, it's really hard for us to pick up the work of the city and to try and copy it. It just doesn't work. So I've put a few points up there, but we're rural, we've got dispersed communities, a strong outdoor culture. That was really key here. We can't copy and paste from cities, but we did learn from other councils and from Sport New Zealand. So we called in Vincent help and said, how would it look for us? What would that look like? Give us some examples. Where has it been done in other places in New Zealand? And so Gisborne's District Council, for example, they have really been extremely useful for us because they also have dispersed communities, and they have a few more similarities to us. The good thing about leaning on other councils is that they're pretty helpful to hand over their work and their templates and hand it to us. So we've got a really great way to assess our play spaces now. It goes beyond health and safety. This is looking at playability. This is looking at whether this is actually a good, suitable site to develop. Does that make sense in the long run? So we're really thinking holistically instead of just thinking about each individual playground. And so that is a wee bit of just bringing everyone up to speed on the play strategy. This brings us to the play innovation hui. So Sport New Zealand, when we reached out, and we can go on to the next slide there, please, and on to the next one as well. And when we reached out and started chatting to Sport New Zealand, at first they said they weren't going to be able to help us in the way we wanted, but another opportunity has come about. So Sport New Zealand has a national network of play advocates working around the country to improve play outcomes. They run intensive place-based events in selected locations, although it's only happened maybe 2 times that I'm aware of. Their big event that was similar to this was in Kaikoura, and we are very fortunate that Central Otago has been as the next case study. So from the 17th to the 19th of March, Sport New Zealand and play advocates from around the country are going to come and work alongside the parks team and council staff and local partners. So think of it as a 3-day workshop, similar to a hackathon. It's going to be centered on Central Otago, and we're going to use the draft strategy as a base, community feedback, local context, and we're going to test ideas and strengthen our approach to explore practical ways to deliver on this work. The hui is going to help us test and refine the draft approach, learn from national expertise, explore a practical delivery or delivery options, and connect community feedback with specialist knowledge. And this is going to make sure that our strategy is well informed and grounded in both local input and wider experience. It's obviously a fine balance. The hui is going to conclude with a final presentation to all elected members on Thursday, the 19th of March. So this is obviously why I'm telling you all about this. It will be an opportunity for you to hear key insights, see how Central Otago fits with the wider national picture, and be a part of the conversation about how we move from strategy to implementation. So this is quite a new and positive way of working. And the parks team has done the groundwork through research and community engagements, and now we're bringing that national expertise here. For a district of our size, this is a really valuable opportunity. So the key ask is pretty simple. Please note the dates, and I really hope to see you there. So 19th of March, we'll be sending out more information, and I think we've got a good track record now. We're pretty good at, talking about play in a fun way. So it will be fun, and I look forward to seeing you all there.
Thank you.
Please, if you have any questions, let us know.
Any questions for now? Well, no, thank you both.
Might just add something a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, like Jim's new to the board. This is some work that Gordy and Maria started about a year ago.
Ask any questions.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. So they started the play strategy with a whole load of sort of consultation in the community. And Maria and Gordy committed to bring it back to the board. So every 4 months, just giving people updates on where they're at. And over the course of last year, we did a heap of work across all of our play across our district, and that amongst Maria being able to go overseas and get a couple of awards herself and learning about what other people are doing around the world, and able to bring it back with Gordy and the team to bring it to the people of Central Otago. So I think like what we get, the strategy that we get, will be punching well above our weight for a community this size, which is pretty cool.
If you're wondering, this the play advocates up in the top right.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
Yeah, so that's some of the previous ones. They might look slightly different. There might be a few extras in there, but yeah, some of them will be there, which is great because they're super knowledgeable. Those ones, they've been around for a while.
And players for all ages, eh? From newborn through to towards the later years. So we could have a swing together or something.
Get a sense why we were picked for the case studies?
Because we were very eager.
Is that as the result of your work?
Yes, yes.
100%.
Well done, design, because that's a good opportunity, like 3 days, this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good, yeah.
Maria also hosts podcasts and things like that as well, so interviews people from around the world. And so, yeah, very humble. They're both very, very humble.
They definitely take credit for us.
Yeah.
There's a podcast episode just about play in children in urban areas, so that's quite a good one if you want to get a feel for this stuff.
Well done, yeah.
Well done, you guys.
Thank you. Right, is there anything else in the governance reports? Any questions?
We have got it all here as well, if there's any questions about it.
Yeah. Anyone got any questions about the Valley Bridge?
It's nice, I think.
When we're doing the work on the bridge, are we going to, because the bike trail kind of, everyone goes over that bridge.
Yeah, so there's going to be a clock on, to the clock on. So there's scaffolding there for 24/7 side travel access as well as using occasionally.
Or was there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so at this stage. Things are tracking. Works will commence the week of 12th of February, which is not pretty far away. That'll be a bit of enabling work. So there's 2 poplar trees that are hard against the bridge at the moment that need to come out to put that additional clip-on scaffolding walkway cycleway. So that'll be probably one of the first things that will happen. And then there's about 3 to 4 weeks working actually building that scaffolding before we can close the bridge. Some are arriving early to mid-April. They've changed, the contractors changed the methodology a little bit. They were going to remove X sections in small sections, but there has been a delay with the timber supply, so they're looking at doing all the demolition works in one hit. So that's had the benefit of actually not extending the construction period too long. Obviously being conscious that we are paying for a Bailey Bridge, the temporary bridge at the moment, we're paying reasonable dollars a month to have that in there. So the sooner we can get the work done and get that bridge back out again, the less cost to the ratepayer. So it's been a couple of little hiccups, but that's to be expected with a project of that size. But back on track again, really. Yep.
That Bailey Bridge is really impressive.
Yeah, it'd be nice to keep it there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. I did wonder that. Yeah, because it's in such a nice spot for the rest of the town, and what it is.
That is what it is, yeah.
Awesome. Right, so I'm happy to move that we receive the governance report. Seconder, Tony, all in favour? Against? Carried. And last but not least for this meeting, the date of our next meeting is Tuesday, the 17th of March in the Clyde Museum. So we will see you all then at 10 a.m.
Just doing